let's do this live stream.
And you know
And
what? I had really wanted to go live, and I didn't really have anything else I was doing tonight, so this was a perfect opportunity.
yeah, happy we can make this happen.
And
So
also,
first
Chris,
thing,
before you say
okay,
anything else, I have to say I'm honored to be on here with you. I love
well,
your work. It's so inspiring. I'm getting tearful. It is. I joined like Blue Sky, and then I my account got suspended, and so I went to Substack, and you were literally one of your articles was the first thing I read. And I said, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's hope. There's people here. There's somebody I can connect to." And there's been so many, but I did want to say I really respect what you're doing. I believe in your work, as you know, and we're aligned on so many issues,
I
or all of
completely
them
agree.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, you bring some great fire, and I love that. I think that um it's so funny there's this instinct in folks to I mean, again, I refuse to say the left, the non-authoritarians, to just constantly be trying to rein people in. And it's like, no, bring the heat, you know? I
Bring it.
want the heat.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
So
I don't know
we've
how to
talked
do
about
it
it.
any different.
Yeah. Well, and
I
that's
don't know how to
authority.
do it any different.
That's authenticity. That's like, I mean, I think that's obviously sexism was a problem, and we're going to get to the Minneapolis stuff, but like Kamala and Hillary, many problems with them we could go into, but I do
Sure.
think one challenge is like an AOC doesn't have a trouble seeming authentic because
Correct.
there aren't a million layers of what are they called, the consultant class
Right.
helping her refine her message. She is just speaking from the heart, and when you don't take corporate money you get to do that,
That's so
right?
true. And you really can tell a difference. You
Yeah,
can really tell a difference.
yeah. So
Absolutely. Yes,
day
I like
one,
to be raw and unfiltered. I like to be raw and unfiltered, and I will drop a lot of F bombs, a lot,
heck yeah.
potentially. So
Oh
if you're
yeah.
okay with that, we are living in an authoritarian era, and saying fuck a lot is appropriate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that, I fucking shit. Just my feelings. Day one, some pepper spray got popped, and a little bit of some of the pepper bullets that they got. They didn't even hit anybody with those. They were just popping those in the ground. So that was, gosh, what was the name? I'm supposed to remember the names of these places, and I can't. I should have written it down before, but we went to this building, and there were ICE agents in there. I'll post it in the comments or something after, but this one building where yeah, a bunch of ICE agents and police officers hanging outside, and federal employees in there, and apparently it's a big planning hub for them out here. And so the Whipple building, apologies for Minneapolis folks. If you want to correct me in the comments, please feel free. It was ICE that was using the pepper bullets as well. So there's some great activists out there, and they were spicy, but
I want to give a shout out to all of the activists. You know,
yeah,
it kind of gets played like the American people aren't doing anything. And that's bullshit. People are showing up. People are putting their lives on the line. People are putting their safety on the line every day. Americans are showing up. The ones that are citizens, denizens, not the people in the Congress. I don't see too much of them. But I just want to give a shout out to, oh my God, the Home Depot protests, people standing up against ICE, the No Kings marches. We have been a powerful force of activism. And it won't get shown because you know what? They will not televise the revolution.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And I mean, these people are brave. And let me tell you, I saw babies out at this protest. Like they were marching. I'm going to work on a video, by the way. Hopefully have it tonight, kind of a video essay, first day wrap up, that has footage that I got while I was out here from the protests and from the kind of direct engagement and direct action with ICE and with the local police. And I mean, everyone from babies to folks who might be old enough to be my great grandparents, and
Unbelievable.
also
And
really big
Chris,
presence
you
to the Native
started
Americans
young.
out
I
here.
know that. That's part of your story. You
Is that it?
started as a young activist.
Well,
Please, can you tell me a little more about that? I have been wondering.
yeah, actually, I appreciate. My big brother Bashir Ali, follow him on Substack because he just got on there.
I did
Uh,
actually because he wrote one of the articles.
yeah, that's my big brother.
Cool. That's your brother?
So, yeah, I was 12 and he took me out with him. He was or it might have been, you know what? Actually, I had to have been 14. I thought that I was 12, but I just did the math on that. And he's 4 years older than me.
Correct the record. You
And
were
so I had
14. All right.
he took me out with him and we're protesting Iraq and Afghanistan. And this is like our parents went from we like George W. Bush, he's a compassionate conservative, to I think maybe we should consider communism in like from 2000 to 2004. So big shift for our family, went from like normal
Wow.
Republicans
That
to
was an
socialist atheists.
awakening.
Yeah, yeah.
That was an
Yeah.
awakening. Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
but you know what? What a wonderful transformation
I'm very
that you
proud of my
got to
parents.
experience that.
Yeah.
And
They
it helps
are
me understand why you're so far, well, let's say left. So you mentioned something of the left before. I don't think we have the left represented in our political spectrum at all.
yeah,
I don't feel there's a left. I feel
yeah.
there's two pretty conservative parties, and then there's people who want to be left of that. And
Yeah. Well, I'm a
but
research back
you're more
humanitarian.
left than the norm, and so am I.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think the left-right dichotomy is meant to make people think that morality is some that has a political tilt. And to me, I'm a research-backed humanitarian. Let's do what the evidence suggests work, and let's try to help human beings as much as we can. I mean, part of what's incredible about the American experiment is that it was founded on let's put the keys to power in as many hands as possible. And, in a dictatorship, those keys are in very few hands. And so you only have a few people the dictator needs to make happy in order to stay in power. But in a democracy, we want to hand everyone possible that key and say, y'all got to turn it to help decide where it's going to go. And so that idea, it's been pulled away and degraded for so long. Republicans only want the people they like to be able to vote, not the people they don't like. And that's why
Correct.
yeah, I've seen you rightfully justify. I'm glad you're out here criticizing the people who need to be criticized. And like, I think that's part of like the value of diverse strategies is,
I agree.
uh, we get to like, I mean, it's like a soccer game. You need people, or I mean, I guess football, whatever. I've just
I
watched my
played
first
soccer,
soccer
so
game
let's go with
ever.
that.
I just watched for my first soccer game ever in my entire life a week ago. So, uh,
Oh, relevant.
But, everybody has a different position to play that involves their skills and using those in the best way possible. So
Right.
some of you out there, call your representatives, write your letters. I think everybody should be doing some of those things, filling out contact forms for their representatives. And then some of us,
Absolutely, because it's something we
yeah,
can do.
exactly. Oh,
We can
actually,
do.
there's a really fun thing I want to tell everybody about really quick.
Yeah.
Well, first, I'm going to get a sign. I'm going to bring you guys with me. So, there's this strategy that we're going to be doing here in Minneapolis that I'm very excited for that is not on the streets. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble. It says the emperor
I
has
need
no
my
clothes.
glasses. Oh,
Um, and what we're going to be doing here is outside of the on the street stuff, which I want to talk about more, but
yes.
we're going to be gathering signs that people have made, and we're going to be mailing them to representatives and to Governor Walz and State Attorney General Keith Ellison and
Chris,
state.
this is excellent activism.
Yeah,
When
we're
we
excited.
do different things like that, send a poster. That's not the typical. I'm a big fan of setting up the tent city in front of the office.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of using my body, being very visible, wearing clothes, being a human billboard. I like to take up space. I like to be loud. I have a lot of
yeah,
signs that I would love to donate to this cause. Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
If people want to help coordinate on this, because like for example, You can send signs. Look, our greater degree of influence is, of course, at the local level. Like, we all need to
Yes,
know the names of our state house reps and state senators and know who the heck these people are. And better yet, make sure they know who the heck you are.
you are.
And you can do that with these people. Let me tell you, it's surprisingly easy. That's part
At the
of why,
state level, very easy.
you know,
Chris, one of the
Alex,
things
the
I wanna
Heritage
tell you is
Foundation.
I do support, very much the soft secession idea. All of the state level work that you're encouraging, I want you to know, I really believe it. I have less belief, as you know, in Congress, in those races where there is such, well, there's the unlimited corporate and foreign lobby campaign contributions
Always.
in those congressional races. So I feel like those are more lost. So I just want you to know, and I have said it a lot, I very much back the state level work because that is where we have chances. That
Yeah.
is where also we are closer to the people who represent us.
Yeah.
They're there, they're in their
Mhm.
office. And yes, I got a lot of experience working at the local level, mostly in New York City. Now I'm in New Jersey, but building my
Hey,
community here. And then I don't know if I told you I'm moving to Virginia in July, and I am going to be very involved there as well.
I lived in Jersey till I was a teenager, then we moved upstate.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, where in Jersey? I'm in Somerset County.
We started out in Newark and
Okay.
worked our way, I know, right? And then, we were in Asbury Park for a bit,
I know
and,
it very well.
any New Jersey folks out there, sending lots of love your way. It's an odd state politically, but, I mean, we need to be everywhere. I'm gonna be in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a few weeks for the 9th anniversary of their Indivisible group,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I'm really excited to get a chance to chat with them. I'm going also, if any of you are Tom Hartman fans, I'm going on his nationally syndicated radio show on Monday, specifically to talk about ICE. And when they invited me, they didn't even know that I'm coming here to Minneapolis. So I'm going to have a bunch of extra info, but about the ICE prosecution model and how we can prosecute what is going on effectively. And don't let people tell you that we cannot. Because let me tell you something, these people are committing crimes. It is okay to arrest people who commit crimes. There is no legal protection for abducting, assaulting, any of that stuff. If somebody tries to tell you that there is, ask them what the heck they're actually trying to defend. Are they trying to say that we cannot prosecute people who kidnap, assault, murder in broad daylight in front of everybody? And so that's a big one. Just like ask them, is that the side you want to be on? That's what you're fighting
Right,
for.
right.
Yeah, that's what we're doing out here.
Again,
Fighting
the
it out.
fact that you're there, one of the things I wanna tell you is if you're ever in my area, I wanna link up. I wanna go to what you're doing. I wanna be there. I am a big fan of your work. So however you think
Appreciate
I
it.
can, help, I want to. My interests are in reaching the people that seem unreachable.
Yeah,
That's what my interest is. My interest is because I have always worked in communities that were marginalized. That's been what I've been doing for the last 25 years. So those are my people. That's who I know who to talk to. I want to see a way that we can go into these areas that are going to be devastated by this bill, OBA. They're
yeah,
already devastated because they're living in deep poverty. Those are
yeah,
hidden communities in this nation. The media doesn't get there. They don't show you what's going on the street. So I really want over these years, I want to be able to connect with the people that are going to be most severely affected by everything that's going on because I
yeah,
have a level of privilege. I have a level of privilege and I want to do all I can to support the most vulnerable people.
yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, and we talked a little bit. I mentioned this idea to you the other day, and I remember you being really responsive. I would love, and maybe like a GoFundMe is the choice. I'm really trying to work on getting more into visual medium, and maybe my vision is I mean, the Anthony Bourdain documentary style, but with an activist perspective rather than a chef perspective. So we look at the culture, with the videos and the content we're making while we're out here. We are, there's going to be days where we go to the Mall of America and some of the museums and meet some of the people and eat some of the food and learn about the culture and the history. And then there's going to be days like today where, we're with people screaming at ICE agents and, getting pepper sprayed. There's just a little bit of pepper spray today. None of it even hit me. And
Wow.
so, but and then the big protest rally that was so much enthusiasm and kind of just help you fall in love with an area and also get more of a perspective of what it is to be an activist in that area and the values of those people. So maybe the specific one that I would want to maybe do a GoFundMe for or a Kickstarter if people wanted to tell me their interest would be one going to deep red areas, like find the reddest counties in America and spend time in those places with just a couple of other people. And what we
That's
do
what I
is
wanna
hang
do.
out with them.
That's what
And
I wanna do.
yeah,
That's what I wanna do. So one of the things that I've been talking about, which is in line with everything that you've been talking about, is we are incredibly powerful. Of course we're powerful. That's why they're so scared of us. What, they came into Congress and, it was a bipartisan resolution against socialism. And part of that was against collectivism,
yeah,
right? They're projecting their biggest fear. And this is always the biggest fear. People coming together.
yeah,
The different genders coming together, the different races, the different religions, the different people from urban and rural and suburban. They divide. Both these political parties divide. That's what they do the best. So our relationships with each other, that's where the power is. That's where the power is. It's this right here.
yeah. Well, and I think, we get the right people going into these communities. And that's what when I ran for Congress, I ran in a +9 red district. And that district had previously had a Democrat U.S. House Speaker of the House. So the U.S. Speaker of the House from this district in Washington State that now has been Republican for quite a few years. And part of how he initially won was by going to every single town in the district. And so my goal was to go to over the 30 towns. And we still ended up, not making it, but it was a really valuable learning experience about like the power of just going to these towns because I'd have some like older farmers being like, why aren't you a Republican? And I'm like, I want everybody to have health care. And
These are the
like,
conversations to have because why?
yeah,
Because the media
yeah,
creates the narrative, right? The media creates the narrative. People are fed lies. So they don't even know what the policies are. They don't, and by the way, I don't watch Fox News, but I know that it's lies all the time. So whatever it is they are saying, that's brainwashing people. So why would they know even better to be a Democrat when Democrats are being demonized and Antifa is identified as a domestic terrorist organization, right? These are the conversations we have to have. And there's only one way to do that, and that's showing up, being with people. When we're online, I love it because I can connect with people. But guess what? That's excluding the vast majority of people. We got the time to be online. Again, these are privileges we have. Most people in America, believe it or not, they're just trying to survive day to day. Those are the people we need to reach. Those are the ones who are most affected by policy, and they're not even voting. So, this is the work we have, but I believe in us. I absolutely believe in the people.
yeah, yeah. I agree completely. I completely agree. And I think that we talked about collaboration and in person and stuff. So that's part of why I'm in Minneapolis as well, is I'm covering what's going on here and hoping to make some really valuable and actionable tools that come from it and content that we can learn from. But also, I want to go to a lot of cities and towns. And so, one of the things I'm doing here is I'm getting some folks together and working on getting them integrated with the educate, activate, recruit, repeat model. that I've been developing and put out as a free ebook on
It's
buymeacoffee.com.
fantastic. Everyone should get it. Everyone should get every single thing that Christopher has written. I highly recommend. And by the way, Christopher, the accessibility of your work, it is spiritual that you give this stuff for free. I am not joking. It is truly a gift to humanity.
Well, I feel
Thank you.
like thank you for the kind words. And I feel like we're pretty cooked and I'm just fighting back as hard as I can. And I'm like, I need everybody. I'm going to just, I try, I mean, I published over 1 million words in 2025. And
I am
most of
so
them,
glad you're bringing this up because I have been dying to ask you. I
yeah.
really want to know, how on earth do you do it? When do you write? How do you research? I'm very curious how it all gets done.
Yeah, actually, that's a really gosh, I'm not even sure I've been asked that much or at all. Let's see. I spent a lot of time. It took me like 2 years or 3 years to write my first book, but I remember being really frustrated because I said, when I was in college, I could write thousands of words a day for my assignments, especially for my graduate degree. And I saying to myself, why can I do this when it's an assignment for school, but not just because it's a book I want to write? And so I first book was really tough. Editing was the most difficult part for me because what happens is I get in my head and every mistake I'd find, my internal dialogue would be, "You're terrible. You're bad at this. This isn't. You should feel ashamed." And so the first book I hate. And
That which one is
then my
that? Which first book? Which book is that?
human trafficking, uh, what uh, what it is and how you can end it, or some the type of title I am prone to picking. Uh,
The
and
type of
but,
your
yeah,
titles are always grabbing me. They're always grabbing me. I
I
like it.
appreciate it. Thank you very much. And, but I've spent, like, a couple of years trying to develop the muscles to just show up and write. Ernest Hemingway said the first draft of everything is shit, and I remember that. I think about it often, and I think, you just gotta write that bad first draft, and editing is where it gets good. Like, that first draft of anything, get your terrible 5,000 words out. Just vomit them onto the page, and then when you edit it, you have this is just your block of stone for you to carve, and the carving, cool, now I have the materials. Now I can refine and change it, and just getting out of the way of your subconscious is actually, I think, the biggest thing. If you want to write a lot, and if you wanna write well, okay, if you wanna write well, you have to write a lot. You have to write often, you have to write all the time. You have to learn to love writing, even when it sucks, and you don't get to be good at writing or anything unless you're willing to do it even when you suck at it. I
Great
think
point.
when I
Great point.
wrestled, when I was learning guitar, all these different things that I love. When I did stand-up comedy, I said,
I'm gonna
"I
have
don't
to see
get."
videos of that.
I've made sure to hide them as well as I can. And so I've worked as hard as I can to, get out of the way of my subconscious and to just, not let that self-criticism stop me from pursuing something. So that's a phrase I want you to, like, remember. Everybody, you don't get to be good at it unless you can love it even when you're bad at it. And that's, yeah,
Brilliant.
that's an important part of the
I
process.
wanna
But
tell you what
Mhm.
how I can relate to that, but I am gonna follow up with one more question about your writing, but really quick, I'm gonna tell you how I can relate to what you're saying. That's how I learned how to meditate. It was very difficult. It's very difficult to sit quiet. It's very difficult to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So I during COVID, I said, "I'm gonna master this." And by the way, anybody can master meditation. It's just sitting and focusing on one thing at a time. And when your mind wanders, you just come back. That is it. It is not clearing your mind. It is not finding peace. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with focusing on one thing at a time, which in this society is life saving. So, one of the messages I keep telling people, I always keep in my lives, I'm trying to help people take care of themselves too. And that applies to you too, because you told me things are chaotic. So another role I can play in your life if you ever need one, I can help you take care of yourself. That's what I do. I help people take care of themselves.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
appreciate it.
back to the question I wanted to ask you. How do you write something? You have like an article every day. Like, when is that happening? I'm just very curious. Like, is that a couple hours? Is that a whole day? Like, when do you sleep? Are you
Well,
sleeping? Are
I should
you?
sleep more. I should sleep more. Um, some days it happens quicker than others. I have truly had days where for 18 hours I was looking at my laptop and writing and just microwaving food and bringing my laptop with me in every room. And it just, I write like my life depends on it. And I think subconsciously it feels that way. And I'm okay with just allowing that because it helps me get what I want out of writing. I feel if I didn't write for a day, it would feel like I didn't brush my teeth, shower,
Wow.
or like all these things that are supposed to. Honestly, it would feel like I was holding in pee. I know it's a weird metaphor, but I gotta.
It
I
would be
just
uncomfortable. It would be
yeah, it would be
uncomfortable.
like
You would be squirming.
uncomfortable.
You'd be squirming.
Yeah, like I try to take days off, and then by the afternoon, I'm like, I'm so refreshed. Time to write. And
I'm so glad to be able to hear about
yeah,
this because I've been wondering for months. I literally have. This is the question I've wanted to ask you the most. How do you do it? I was really wondering. Now
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in. I just when I see a new article, I'm literally like, how did he do it again? I just so I
Right.
think you have because I know about people a lot. I'm a therapist, a social worker. You you have a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy, and you're using it.
Every
You
teacher I
know,
ever had would definitely agree with you there.
right? You have a lot of energy. And, I'm in this period now too of feeling like things have to come out of me. I started writing poetry again for the first time in 30 years in
Wow.
January
Good.
of last year. So much was coming out of me. I do not write research articles like you at all anymore. I did that academically. Now I just write my feelings, my thoughts, my observations. I might I've put your articles in there with links. I might link to other resources, but I don't do that kind of research.
Yeah.
So, like I know one of the pieces I love so much is the 11/5/24 report. Right? And I know you said I don't know who else worked with you on it. I don't know if it was just you and your brother, but I felt like you said it was a team. That kind of work that you guys put in, I mean, that was so cathartic to me. And I think when you posted, I said, I'm going to be sharing this everywhere. And I have, and I continue to. So, yeah, tell me a little bit. Just I'm curious, how many people helped put that timeline together?
Well, Bashir was part of it. Wendy Lawrence helped a bit. Uh, and one or two other people. I mean, I've got a few folks who are experts in their fields, but prefer to not be public facing. Constitutional expert. Uh, but people who've been like deeply embedded in political campaigns, like we're involved in AOC's first campaign and that kind of stuff, and just good connections. And a lot of it comes from those conversations. And this really relates actually to the writing aspect too, because there's a few elements that go into how I can have the high output that I have. Um, Part of the answer is I wrote poorly for a long time so that eventually I could get better at it. Like when I did stand up comedy, I didn't want to learn how to make a perfect joke by crafting it over months. I wanted to learn how to improv actors do. They just get to the funny things so automatically. It's incredible. And so as far as coming up with that report and the research, a lot of it is I have a notebook with me everywhere I go, and I have around 100 Google Docs running at any given moment.
Wow.
And whenever in my life I have ideas or thoughts or want to pursue something more, I am constantly writing that stuff down. I literally have a Google Doc for weird wrestling personas, like WWE style characters, that like a Crinkle the
These are
Clown.
ideas you have, like creative ideas?
Yeah, yeah. And so Uh, yeah, that I'm just like always trying to create, and I think we have that energy in us, but I try to get out of the way of my subconscious, and that's I've never done improv classes. I'm a really big Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPG fan, and I've learned that the more you can just let your subconscious has so much more computing power than your conscious mind. And so I have trained myself over many years. I have dozens of notebooks filled like journals filled with notes since I was a teenager. Every single day, just like because especially in the military, they do not like you being on your phone when the colonel is briefing about stuff. And so but they would let you have your notebook, or like I would
Yeah.
be in a guard shack on the Iraqi border, and it's just like a machine gun or like M240 Bravo is what it would be. But and you're in this shack, and it's like you better not get caught with a book, but you can have a notebook. And so I would just be taking notes
Interesting.
all day, and you can get to where you want. Like, and if writing isn't your thing, do that with your guitar. Spend as many hours per day with your guitar in your hands, getting your fingers used to working the guitar without conscious engagement. Because there's actually research that shows that you gain a skill more rapidly when you're not focused on trying to apply techniques. You can study techniques, but when you just, I call it noodling around. I'll noodle on writing. I'll noodle on the guitar. I'll
Yep.
noodle on, whatever my, new hobby is. So even like that report on the election being stolen, it's all noodling. It's just, oh, I need to research this now, and let me add that to the framework. And what about this and that? And the subconscious will
I
provide
gotta
if you,
ask you, do you ever get burned out?
yeah,
Do you ever
absolutely.
get burned out?
All the
You
time,
do.
constantly. Oh, yeah, I've burned out hard many times in my life. Learning to recognize the patterns and
Signs,
learn
the
to
warning signs, right?
take the foot off the gas, or, "Okay, I didn't take my foot off the gas quick enough. I better hit the brakes. Okay, well, I didn't do that quick enough. I better hit the emergency brake." Yeah,
I
that's
think
fun.
this is such an important conversation for us to have in this community because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah,
We're gonna be together working on this stuff for years.
yeah.
We
That'll be
cannot get burned out. It's so
yeah,
cute. A lot of people say, "Oh, I hope you're okay," to me. Are you? And I'm like, I am okay because every day I find time to recover. Every day.
yeah,
Every day I build in my recovery. And if I am very tired or burned out, I listen to my body. I
yeah,
listen, right? So it's really important for all the activists out here to know that you can always take a break and we'll be ready for you when you come back. And we need reinforcements. We need people to rest so that when the next person is burned out, somebody is there. And now that I'm saying that, I don't know. I'm sure this applies to military stuff too. Does
yeah.
it? The way you
Oh,
work together as a team and
yeah, well, there's also something, I mean, just related to that, and I appreciate it, American citizen. But gosh, I mean, I'm a little addicted to work sometimes, honestly. I really love what I'm doing, and I think some of this is probably related to some neurodivergence, but um, I've had to learn, thanks to a lot of therapy, that it is not healthy or good long term to spend days at a time just focusing on whatever the thing is. So like because I've gone through periods where I'm just for days on end writing and not taking care of myself, not eating properly. I've had issues with getting dehydrated. I
see, I'm so
and
glad you're talking about it, Chris, because this is the human cost that we bear of being
yeah,
in a world where we have to fight all the time instead of what
yeah,
we may have thought our future was going to look like. Maybe we thought we would have some retirement. Maybe we thought we would have some leisure time. But in fact, what we're learning is that we're going to be fighting. I always say, I assume I will be fighting this for the rest of my life. I have
yeah,
already accepted that. I have already accepted that. So, yeah, I just always want to bring that to awareness that even you, of course, you're saying it, we all get tired and we
yeah,
all have to take care of ourselves first and foremost. And so, just to even hear you say, you sometimes get hyper focused to the
yeah,
degree that you might not eat, you might not drink water, right? And so,
yeah,
that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? That
yeah,
getting up, stretching, really Structuring in your breaks could be the thing that helps someone sustain themselves.
Yeah.
Our mind wants to solve problems all the time. Working is addictive because we're solving problems. That's what our mind wants to do. But our central nervous system also needs to rest. So sometimes our thoughts are so fucking cool. We don't even want to stop thinking about them,
Yeah.
but we need to. And
Yeah.
so that's where I learned meditation. And luckily now there's a lot of apps to help people. Um, so yeah, I just am honoring your work, and as your, friend, I want
Yeah.
you to take the best care of yourself that you possibly can.
Appreciate it. I'm very fortunate. I have a bunch of people. What I do, because I recognize some of my unhealthy patterns that help me create like the output that gets me a lot of praise. Like a lot of things get me a lot of praise that I don't always do a good job of like great, I'm fixating and the world is thanking me for it. And
I know,
what
right? It's being positively reinforced by
yeah,
thousands and thousands of people.
but thanks to tons of therapy, truly so much therapy. I do like some of the things I do now are I communicate with my loved ones. So that way, when I start having some self neglect issues, they're checking in on me, bringing me food, reminding me, to take care of X, Y, and Z, or how many cups of water did you drink today?
Fantastic.
um,
You have people
I'm
to
really
help
lucky.
support you,
I'm
to
really
remind
lucky.
you.
And my brother, by the way, Bashir, he gets here tomorrow, and the man who formed me as a baby activist, my big brother, who I love
Now, where
so.
has he been? Where is he now coming from?
New York, New York, yeah, and he's I'm
How
really
often do you
excited
guys see each other in person?
every chance we get. I mean, we were just in Berlin together for 2 weeks. And so that was really fun.
Wow.
And yeah, and then he came back, and so we both have American parents. Like his we have different dads. His dad's American, born in America, and yeah, he got stopped at the border, flying back for 4 hours, and they kept asking him if he was Palestinian,
What?
and took his phone and made
Oh
him unlock
my
it because they
goodness.
were like, "We're gonna email you. You can not unlock your phone, but we'll get into it anyway, and we'll email it to you in a month." Or sorry, we'll mail it. We won't email you your phone. We'll mail you your phone in a month. And and they just kept saying, "Are you Palestinian?" And he's not. There's no part of his lineage that's Palestinian. Like, yeah, that's for real.
That
Because
is terrifying. That is
yeah,
you see that, and that repetitive asking, that is literally a tactic, right? To get false information,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, absolutely
Right?
coercive.
So
It's
that
a
because this
coercive
person feels
tactic.
pressure and they just want to get out of it. And so then they might literally, like, Chris, you studied psychology, right?
Yeah,
And so did I. Right? And so, like, it's so important to have that background in this world,
yeah.
right? To
You can implant
understand
false
how they're
memories in
using
people.
psychology.
Yeah, no, it's they're able to implant false memories in people through coercive tactics. It's really brutal, and I mean, we grew up in New York and New Jersey, and so I won't have too much of his story to tell. That's his place, But what I will say is, post 9/11, as a teenager, he had to face some challenges that I did not have to face, and
Wow.
it
Can I
makes
relate on that for a minute? Because I was
yeah,
in New York on 9/11, and after 9/11, I was deeply involved with helping people through the trauma. And I was working with young people at the time, and a lot of what I would do would be going into schools and helping teachers, students, parents cope. And of course, one of the primary problems was the anti-Muslim hate. Had never existed before in those New York City schools, right? And so working with that and having kids come together and realize we're a community. That was some of the work I did. And so it sounds like was he a young person at that time?
yeah, yeah, we were young.
Right.
Uh,
So
yeah,
I can relate. I was there. I'm connected to it very much.
yeah. I mean, I barely remember. I was in 3rd grade on 9/11, and that was I remember we got sent home, and my mom and my older brother were in front of the TV, and they tried to explain it to me, and there just wasn't an emotional register for me. And then I ended up going to Iraq and Afghanistan as a, having been a third grader on 9/11.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting. So you were 8 years old basically on 9/11
Yeah.
because you were in 3rd grade. And so, because it's like, I don't ever know how old anybody is. I'm sorry, I just can't know. But I just figured out I must be about 20 years older than you then.
I'm 33.
Okay, I'm going to be 53 this month.
Hey, nice.
Ah,
Congratulations.
all right. So that's cool to know because, again, I can never really tell. I can never really tell how old anybody is. We're all the
Yeah.
same to me. We're all the same, But so tell me more, if you want, about Bashir, seeing him coming, or anything else that I
Well,
might have interrupted you on.
I should probably be worried more about my safety, but I'm not. I feel like this is exactly where I want to be. And there's actually a very important message. I don't know how many people are here right now watching this, but I want to say this to all of you as one of the most important conversations I think we can have with ourselves and our roles as activists. And it relates to my feelings on my brother coming here. Even if I knew that we were definitely going to lose this fight and fascism and tyranny would win in perpetuity, there is nothing else I would want to do with my life besides fight fascism. Nothing
100%. I'm
else.
with you. I love
Two?
that. And I've heard you say that, or I read that one time
Heck yeah.
somewhere. I
Heck
don't know if
yeah.
it was a comment or if it was in one of your articles. And I said, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know how to operate outside of, if I feel strongly, and I love people, by the way. I love people. I don't hate people. I love people. I go to the grocery store, I look at someone and I think, I love them. That's who I am. So
Yeah.
I will fight till my last breath. I will fight till my last breath. I will die for this.
Yeah.
My grandfather died fighting German Nazis. He was 20. He was
Wow.
20 years old. He was a tail gunner. And it was before my father was even born. My father was in my grandma's womb. He never met his father. So I feel so spiritually connected. I feel so spiritually connected to this fight. If he
Yeah.
can die for it, why can't I?
Yeah. I think I I had this mental model in my head when I was in the military about approaching danger. It's part of how I got my Class C skydiving license, despite being very afraid of heights.
Oh my
Is I call it
goodness.
my dumb switch, and I flip my dumb switch, and I just make myself dumb, and just do the scary thing that needs to be done. And I would
Wow.
do it when, like, as a first responder, as military police, going into scary situations. Like, I remember one time we thought there was an active shooter. And what you're trained to do is when you're the first officer on scene, you're supposed to run in there and handle it. And I said, "Okay, I gotta flip my dumb switch because I don't wanna freak out." So I got, like, self-preservation mode off. And, I mean, that's also kind of like shutting off the conscious discursive thoughts and instead just I need to let training and, muscle
Muscle
reflex take
memory.
over. Exact
Yes. Yep.
and also I think part of that conversation of, like, I would be doing the activism even if I knew it was gonna fail it's cognitive reframing. It's narrative framing. It's saying, I am a person who does this. This is my identity, and I do it because it's the right thing to do. And so that's a lot of that math. Now, I remember you mentioned about my big brother coming. I'm glad my big brother's going to be here because I love him. I love my brother so much and I am so excited for him to write more articles. The only reason Bashir hasn't written more articles in the last few days is because he's helping me with the final edit for my book, Toppling Tyrants, A Field Guide to Dismantling.
Another book.
Yeah. Full length book, like 400 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christopher, you're prolific.
I have to.
You're
It
prolific.
really feels like if I
That's
don't,
how I
like,
describe you, prolific
I
writer.
repeat. I have if you convince your brain that there is an existential danger to not doing something, you'll find that it comes more easily. I can't like yeah,
Well, there is an existential danger. You're right about that.
yeah, well that's
There
the
is.
existentialist republic. That's part of why I went with the name is because existentialism and absurdism play a big role in my coping and engaging with reality. And
I thought the name was immediately catching, Existentialist Republic. I really did right away. I
appreciate
was immediately like, that's I want to read. I like this name. Yeah, everything that you've been doing is something that is really different. Literally, the model legislation. This is what the Heritage Foundation is doing for the right wing.
yeah,
I was so grateful you did that. And also I really wanted to I had this urge to like want to go everywhere and knock and be like, take this, read this, do this.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Like it's right
Yeah.
there for them.
Yeah. Well, part of the math, and thank you again for the kind words. There's an organization called ALEC, and they send right wing legislation to Republican state representatives, and some Democrats across the country. What I'm hoping to do is create a pro freedom, pro human, rational alternative to ALEC, where we send model legislation that is soft secession friendly and humanitarian, and we get that in the hands of every single Democrat representative in the country. We also build up the capacity where if a candidate like Tea Party esque, I know that they were astroturfed and funded by the Koch brothers, but the fact is politicians at every level. If you were running for dog catcher and you just got on board with the Tea Party stuff, people were happy about it. And why? Because they were not speaking the politics language. The conservatives had spent decades, listening to Rush Limbaugh and Fox News and being told Democrats are evil. But not one of those Republicans running in 2016 was willing to say Democrats are evil, except for Donald Trump. And that's why he won. And as soon as if you're running for dog catcher or city council or school board or president, if you say the Republican Party is a criminal organization paid by our enemies to destroy us, and I want them criminally prosecuted and disbanded, and also I want the people who are in the media who are paid by our enemies to sow discord and disinformation also in handcuffs, send them to Alligator Alcatraz. That sounds great to me. No more children in Alligator Alcatraz, just the people who are trying to destroy this country, the GOP and the media establishment bought and paid for by our enemies. Run for any office on that platform, and people are going to be running to the polls to support you. And so we
It's
have to build that
100%
capacity.
true, but then guess what that makes me wonder?
Hmm.
Why aren't they doing it?
Well, we got to make it happen. We got to be those
Right.
candidates. We got to support those
Because some of
candidates.
the times, Christopher, what really scares me is that we know what to do. So like, why don't they? And then it makes me think, oh, they do, but they're not doing. And so that's where I think you're saying it's the pressure, it's the campaign, it's the what the people have to do to understand the conversations to have to, as you so often do in your work, because I know everyone here knows, but I'll say it, you give scripts, you give practical steps, um I don't know, I just wonder. It will only be, I guess what I'm saying is it will only be through the pressure and the power of the people that any of these people will move, because even though your ideas are actually far more advanced and you have a model legislation, they know what's right. They know what people need. They know that people need access to abortion. Like these are not things that we actually have to, that these aren't things that they don't know. These are basic common sense things. So, what do you think of that? What I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
are they not using a lot of the resources they have? Are they dissociating? Are they refusing? Like, I'm not clear why all of these incredibly successful, wealthy, educated constitutional scholars are blowing it.
Well, I think that's an important question, and it's about understanding. The answer is about understanding incentives and disincentives. Also, my friend Lynn is on here, and I wanted to say hey to her and my co-author for my book, Conservatism, America's Personality Disorder,
I love
retired
that
clinical
book.
psychologist. Thank you. Retired clinical psychologist Dan Brown is also here, and so I
Hi,
wanted to say hi.
Dan. Hi, Lynn. Hi,
And
Dan.
And you can get the conservatism book, the PDF of it, for free on buymeacoffee.com/the ER.
Have sent it to a couple people too. I hope you don't
Good.
mind. My two best
Please,
friends.
please. Thomas
Um,
Paine's Common Sense was written by read by 500,000 people when there were only about 2.5 million people in the United States. Um, I care about having more readers than more money.
it's one of the most important books we should all have, Common Sense, and it's something that's accessible
Definitely.
that people can read,
Yeah.
and
Although it's got
it's
so
an
much
essential
Bible.
part of history. What'd you say?
It's got a lot of Bible stuff in it, which I'm less into, but that's okay. It spoke to
It's
people back then.
Sure,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely,
It's an important
absolutely.
framing
That's
technique.
fully integrated back then, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
is becoming now too again, so it's not a surprise, but it was radical ideology at that time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, oh gosh, what was the last question we had? It was about the books. Oh my goodness, it was a good question too, and now I can't remember it.
Well, it was about whether or not what's going on with people in
Yeah,
office that they're not really using the resources or the power effectively.
I've actually been thinking about. I wrote most of a piece that covers this exact subject, and so maybe tomorrow is the day to publish it. And it is about uh, the idea that why do politicians do stuff that seems crazy or stupid or wrong or doesn't make sense, and it's looking at the incentive and disincentive structure around their behavior. So why do we only have one AOC and one Bernie and one Ilhan Omar? The system as it exists is it's like gambling, and you go to the casino, and the house has the advantage, and they built the game so they would have the advantage. And so the more often you play, the more the odds are going to shake out to precisely what they are. I think it's 51.5% against you when you're playing blackjack if you use perfect technique, that kind of stuff. And so you might get a couple $100s ahead, but if you play for 1,000 hands, you're going to hit that 51.5% loss rate. And so that's what it is with politics, though, is it's really built to make it difficult for the good people to get through and easy for the
Sure
bad
is.
people to get through and hard to get the good things done. Someone's asking me to run for office. No way. Here's what we need. We don't need more awesome candidates, actually. We as voters need to organize in a way where one, politicians are more scared of the royal us than they are of the fascists. And they
Yes.
don't want our ire. They do not want to catch that ire because we are there, we're organized, and we're going to hold them accountable hard. Now,
Yep.
two, the other thing to realize is that we do need good people, but it's about the structures that create systems. We conform to the shape of our vessels. Even a spineless politician, they all do the same math. Truly, even AOC or Bernie, they do the exact same math as every other politician. They just handle it in a different way, and they exist in districts where it's easier to build that coalition of people that are generally more educated about what actually works rather than just being prone to the propaganda of the oligarchy. So, how do we exploit the incentive and disincentive structure of the current system? Because it is what it is, and that's the environment we're in.
Yes.
And storming the castle and violence don't really work, just historically. If violence worked, I'd advocate for violence, but it actually doesn't, so that's why I don't. It's just not an effective strategy. But what does work is educating the public, acting regularly to influence elected officials and legislation, recruiting others to do the same, and then repeating that process as often as you can. That's the EAR model that I have a free ebook on the existent or on the
Buy me a
buymeacoffee.com
coffee.
ER.
Highly
And
recommend, guys. Get all of his books.
I
Get all of his
appreciate it.
books. Read them. They're
And so
accessible. They make sense.
I'm doing what I can to bring people resources. So you want to get politicians to do what you want. Okay, so you have to show up, you have to be loud, you have to be persistent, you have to make it really clear that every politician runs for office because they want to get elected. So if you just tell a politician, and the Tea Party did this masterfully, all right, they made it clear that if you just support these things that are mostly bonkers and You're running for school board. Why are you talking about abortion or very like federal issues? Because at every level they wanted it to be clear this is what it's going to take to get our votes and to get a lot of them. And if you play our stupid culture war game, you're going to get tons of enthusiasm.
Oh,
We need to do that for truth and justice. We actually can, even in a deep red state. You can do it.
absolutely.
You gotta educate yourself on the policies and tactics that work. You gotta act every single day. Today, I called Keith Ellison, left him a voicemail. Took 3.5 minutes. You gotta recruit other people to do the same. I talked to these really great Indivisible group, and they said they had 40 members, and they've been around for I think 5 years. And I'm like, every month, you should have a meeting every month, and you should invite. Every one of you has to invite one person, and that doesn't mean they have to show up, but you have to invite somebody every month. And you might invite the same person every month. You might invite a different one, but you try to get someone there with you.
I joined Indivisible in 2017, and that led me to a community movement that I helped to lead called Save Inwood Library. It was in the northern tip of Manhattan. That's above the heights. Nobody knows about it. And it was through that indivisible group that we all got to think about what is an issue that matters. And that was one of the first things I learned about being an activist is that every issue is related. So all you have to do is pick one that matters to you because all of these things connect. So I thought that was really helpful. It gave me a guide, it gave me a focus. So my focus, because I work as an expert evaluator in immigration court, my issue has always been undocumented migrant children. And up in Inwood, there are a lot of undocumented immigrants. And I worked in the South Bronx, and there's a lot of undocumented immigrants. And for all these years, it was not a problem. Everybody was living peacefully. So anybody on here, if you care about anything you care about, you don't have to hit everything. We're not all like Christopher. We don't all have endless energy. So focusing on one thing that matters to you, that's all you need to do. Another really important thing we can all do right now, be with the young people. One of the things that the right wing did is they captured the minds of young people on the internet. They did it so well, right? We have to counter the right wing movement with the young people. So how do we do that? What are you going to do? How are you going to go meet some young people? Volunteer. Volunteer, be a mentor, be a tutor. Do it. There's going to be there's programs in your community. Right? So educating the next generation, there's really nothing more important than that. You talked about your education into activism, your exposure into activism, right? At a young age. My daughter started going to protests with me when she was 8. She knows everything. And by the way, Gen Z is brilliant. Every generation is brilliant. That's another way they divide us, by generation. You say terrible things about Gen Z. They're brilliant. Millennials, brilliant. We have to stop dividing. That's just another way they divide us. All the generations have brilliant people within them. Don't let them divide us on any of these markers ever. That's what they do. Both parties do it too. Right? So again, coming together outside of the political machine, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. It's at these protests. It's in this conversation with us. Right? It's really, I'm going to be focused less on campaigning this year. I used to always campaign. I'm not doing that this year, me personally. I'm going to be in communities helping people who need help eating, people who need help getting somewhere, getting medical care. I'm going to use the connections and networks and resources I have to help.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And I think, the authoritarians have done a really effective job of coalescing around issues and ideas and convictions, rather than, nitpicking the details of different things and focusing on the candidate. For millions of people, when Roe v. Wade passed through, the SCOTUS decision originally happened, 85% of Americans said, yeah, Roe versus Wade, great decision. And extremists were able to glom onto that, the Billy Graham folks, and they were able to say, you're murdering babies, and make that a single issue. And as long as you supported that single issue, that was your thing. We need to stop babies getting murdered because who would
Yep.
want to be against that? And
Right.
then they're like, also, we're doing all this other evil stuff, but we're going to keep you focused on this. And then Republicans played the game for a long time of like, oh, we care, but they didn't really fight the fight. And then eventually, Tea Party, alt-right folks, the pipeline that you're describing, crafted by Steve Bannon, perfected by Steve Bannon, facilitated candidates who were like, nope, I'm actually going to do those things now. Really, really going to do them. Also while
Yep.
doing the evil stuff. But Donald Trump's approval rating is over 40% right now. It has
Is
bounced
it?
back. People like right wingers are loving his Venezuela persuasion. And there's different um, pulse out there and that kind of stuff, but he has not fallen below the low point that he hit for polling in his first term. He has not fallen below in his second term because they have effectively coalesced the media right wing ecosystem,
Yeah,
authoritarian
that's right.
ecosystem around him.
That's
And
right.
so if we're betting on Louisiana getting its act together, or Florida, or Texas, they're going to be throwing ballots in the trash in 2026 and 2028. And so I am like, everybody watching this, learn the name of your state senator, learn the name of your state house representatives, learn the name of your city council members, learn the name of your government. Get a hold of all of these people every day in a different way. It takes less than 5 minutes. And you tell them, the Republican Party belongs in jail for betraying our country. They're seditious traitors. Also, we need money out of politics. Also, we need to arrest ICE agents. Also, we need to arrest federal. I put out some model legislation on arresting corrupt officials. So, you can send them. I need to make a master document of model legislation. And also, I will ask those of you who are here. Well, I want to believe. So, somebody said I want to believe in Texas. I love Texas, but they're going to throw ballots in the trash. The Republican Party is not going to be held accountable there. They're not going to hold themselves accountable. And the federal vote, please vote, go to the polling station, vote. Absolutely. 100 million %. I want that for you. Please, 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 please vote. But if nobody's going to stop them or hold them accountable for cheating, and they've cheated before, why wouldn't they do it again?
Oh, well, they will.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, do we doubt that there's nothing they wouldn't do for more power? So rather than saying, golly gee, 2026, we're going to make it happen. And then if it doesn't happen, 2028, I'm sure we'll get it on the right track. And if that doesn't work out, gosh, by 2030, certainly, is like, no, get a hold of the states. Make it clear you're our friend if you're willing to oppose fascism, and you're our enemy if you are going to acquiesce or aid fascism. And I say enemy there because that if you're opening the door because you don't want to ruffle feathers, sorry, we need to ruffle the feathers of fascists. Got to make that happen. Otherwise, you
Absolutely.
don't get to beat it because they don't like when you fight back.
Well, I mean, one of the things that blows my mind is that the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, and all of this, that it's even legal, that it was even legal for there to be a plot to end democracy. It
Yeah.
blows my mind. I don't know if it was you or just another author that long time ago this year, kind of talking about the red states that are already under full authoritarian control.
Posted
And
about that. Yeah,
Texas is
according to the standards of the European Union, um, we have multiple states, arguably half a dozen states, that do not meet the standards for being democracies. Their practices are so unfair. That's the thing. Like, get out the vote. I mean, please, for the love of God, vote. I'll say it a million times, and still people will say he's telling us not to vote. Please vote. But also, they are building an institutional tilt so that, hey, Democrat blue areas have less polling stations, and also the right-wing media ecosystem is doing everything it can to keep people in red areas from realizing the truth. And also the
Yep,
judges continue to allow tilted, unfair maps.
yep,
And
yep,
you do 20 of those things to suppress legitimate votes and to destroy legitimate votes, and to create a system that is tilted to benefit one side, and just voting cannot fix that system independently.
Right.
And they should not get a seat at the table. These states like Texas and Florida that are electoral autocracies we should not respect the representatives they send to the US House and the US Senate. We should not respect their electoral votes. If they cannot pass an audit to guarantee that they're holding free and fair democratic elections, then they do not get a voice. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that you were talking about your ideas about voting too. You and I are aligned. I will definitely vote. I encourage everyone to vote. What I try to communicate is that voting is essential, but it's not the only thing. And if we only focus on that, we are toast.
Yeah.
Right? If we only focus on voting, we are toast.
Well,
An election got us here.
Yeah.
Elections got us here. Another point that I really want people to understand is that there's no such thing as lesser evil.
Yeah.
Evil is evil. This is propaganda. It doesn't mean you shouldn't vote for Democrats. I'm just saying the propaganda is on both sides. Lesser evil is made up. Okay? Is it more evil to support a genocide in Gaza or here? Evil is evil. And both of our political parties show a lot of corruption. For example, like you said, the DNC not releasing their report, for example, right, about their investigation of the election, right? So I encourage everyone to vote. I encourage everyone to look at the funders of who they're voting for. That is the most important information you can have about what they will do once they're in office. Before they're elected, they will say anything. It's very hard to know what to trust, but you can look at who's contributing to them. One of the things that I noticed is that all of the candidates take, defense, or corporate, right? Sort of corporate tech money, all of them, right? So then these corporations are making the policy for the human beings or setting the policy, right? So I just want for people to get as many people out there to vote as possible. Yes, because it's harder to rig higher numbers. However, what we saw is that our federal election was really easy to fuck with.
Yeah.
I have a personal experience of somebody I knew that was involved with the Bush v. Gore election in Florida and saw them throwing away ballots then.
Not surprised. Have you ever seen the movie The Campaign, starring Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis?
Maybe, but I can't remember it. But it sounds familiar, The Campaign.
And you guys, okay, anyone watching this is about to get a weird moment of me connecting some dots. But there's a 2012 Will Ferrell movie called The Campaign, starring him and Zach Galifianakis. And it's about a race for the U.S. House of Representatives. And at the end of the movie, there's like the one candidate gets sponsored by the Mach brothers, who are based on the Koch brothers, and it's actually a pretty funny movie. But yeah, so at the end of the movie, they don't understand how the one guy lost the election after all the public support, and then they have some people closing up voting machines, and on the bottom it says owned by the Mach brothers.
Oh my God, that's prophetic.
I was like,
That's
whoa, if it
prophetic.
only was Dominion, it would be a whole like, but that's I don't know. They do. I mean, they've thrown out ballots. There's been a lot of reports. I've seen reports about throwing out ballots in Texas, and I think, look, Texas doesn't like democracy. The GOP doesn't like democracy. And here's how we make the change with elections, though. You need to make candidates make it real clear. If you build the solidarity, if you get enough people engaged, you can have you can have state representatives. If you have 10 people in the state house who are like, we need soft secession. I don't want Louisiana, Kentucky, Florida, Texas telling Washington State, telling New York State how to run our public schools. 30% of the people in Louisiana think that dragons existed, but dinosaurs didn't. I don't want them weighing in on how we run our healthcare. And you can have state house representatives who do that. 100 diehard people with one issue can get you candidates who believe anything. If we wanted to have a candidate who believed that we should go to, I don't know, we should go to Venus and set up colonies ASAP, and that's their one issue, and you have 100 people in that state house representatives district, they can help get a win. Like, you can win those races if you do the work, if you take the time, if you take the city, you take the city councils, you take the school boards, you do all of them race after race. You become a hardcore coalition, and you can form your state house, your governor, your AG to that model that we need, where we can actually have freedom and democracy. And it's not going to happen with states like Texas and Florida. There's good people there, but they are electoral autocracies. It's like Hungary sorting itself out. It's
Yes.
not, it's, I want them
Electoral
to solve.
autocracies. That's excellent. Yes.
And would you want to invite Hungary or any autocratic state? The Philippines. I love Filipino people. The people of the Philippines are amazing. I have so much love for them. I would not invite the Philippines to be a state. I would, they need to get their autocratic challenges in their government taken care of. They need to get corruption taken care of. And states that are not just allowed to be corrupt, but their corruption is facilitated by the federal government because it's trying to gain more power. This is only going to get worse if we keep playing that game.
I
Buenas
think
noches.
it's really important that we take time to hear a little bit about soft secession. What
Yes,
is it? How can it help? How do we get there?
yes. And I'll close. I'm on 2%, so I'm going to close on soft secession, and then we'll roll out.
I have
Soft.
mine plugged in today because I've learned you got to have your device.
Yeah, I need to do that. So, okay, soft secession. It's a type of oppositional federalism. It's states enacting their sovereignty as supported in the Declaration of Independence, as supported in the U.S. Constitution. It's just hardball state power. It's saying we have incredible strength at the local level, and we also know that federal systems are captured. So we're not going to respect the Supreme Court because they don't. They destroyed the emoluments clause. Like, how much more clear can you get than that? The emoluments clause exists
Enriching
because.
yourself when you're in office, right? That's what it's
Yep.
about.
Yeah, enriching yourself when you come into office. The emoluments clause says you can't accept any gifts whatsoever as a representative, as president. It happened because Benjamin Franklin was given a snuff box from the King of France, and it had 24-karat gold all over it and diamonds all over it. And they said, we don't even want to leave the appearance that it's possible in any way that this might influence Benjamin Franklin's opinions on.
Wow.
And so you need to give it back, and we are going to ban it. So this court does not care about the Constitution. They have given up their authority. We do not harm justice. In that, well, actually, let me circle back to soft secession. Anti-corruption, pro-affordability, interstate compacts. States work together so that they can actively nullify and oppose fascist policies. They build parallel structures so that we have social safety nets. People say, soft secession, what about my SSI? What about my Medicare? The Republicans are coming for your Medicare. They're coming for your SSI. They're the reason it
Yes,
gets
they are.
taxed. We need states to form interstate compacts to work with one another to have non-tax revenue that funds the replacements for Medicare, the replacements for SSI. How about just universal health care? We can have that through interstate compacts. And so this is about saying soft secession is saying the federal government's doing a bad job. We're just going to take care of business here. Period.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. I just feel bad for those people in red states who have children. They can't make their own decisions. I feel so sad for the people living under authoritarian rule, but I really want to help support the soft secession.
Well, and someone in the comments said it's the best way to avoid civil war, and I agree. And there's people who have said they think it's going to cause civil war. I'm like, look, you don't stop fascism by opening the door and bending the knee and saying, here you go, come on in. It's just not
You
how
mean
it
like
works.
we've seen just about every other entity do so far in the year?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I try not to criticize Democrats too much personally
The
because
opposite of me. Sorry.
no, I agree, and I'm glad that you're doing that. I want you to keep doing that, and I'll keep doing my thing, and I want those both to
Yeah,
exist. Yes,
absolutely. They can both exist and
yes.
complement each other.
That's exactly it. They're complementary.
That's
The
right.
reason, I've been on that, but I it's very disappointing to see that when people, federal agents are being allowed to enter states and commit all these crimes and face zero accountability,
0.
that governors want to celebrate, hey, we made a hotline so you can tell us about the assaults and the kidnappings.
Oh, when JD Pritzker said he's keeping, like, the statistics or whatever so that at the end of it all, he can analyze or I mean, I don't even know exactly what he offered, but it was so off base in terms of what's gonna make people feel confident.
So here's the power we have: 2026, 2027. I'm the soft secession guy. It's my thing. I love it because it's a chance for us to just say, no, we don't have to go to war. We're just going to take care of our business. We're not going to play your games. Make it very clear to every politician that these are the policies you want to see. Anti-corruption. The policy that me and the folks at the Existentialist Republic wrote about the model legislation for anti-corruption basically says it makes any form of corruption or influence selling uh, a criminal act within your state. Now, the federal government generally says, okay, if it's a federal official, we're going to take over the case. Well, they're corrupt. They're going to sweep anything under the rug and guarantee there isn't justice. So, in that case, we're not, by breaking the norm that the federal government is supposed to take over, we are defending justice. And to not do that is opening the door for injustice, is helping break the system. So the way that elections do matter, if it doesn't just happen on the voting day. Like we need to build a coalition like the Tea Party nuts, where it's like, hey, we are here for X, Y, and Z policies. And
Right.
if you're on board from, we will go to the front lines for you. And we are
Yep.
gonna show up like nobody's business. And if you're against us, we're gonna make you wanna resign. Yeah, yeah.
Did you plug your phone in?
I did. That's why I had to pick it up. Uh, and what I was gonna mention one other thing. Oh, I need volunteers. I need a couple volunteers. I'm looking for people to help me send model legislation to all 3,200 and X number of state representatives because
I
ultimately they are
love
the
this
ones.
idea. I saw you
Yeah,
say it the other
please.
day. It's brilliant. I will help you. I'm sure you will get lots of volunteers. I
Mhm.
will help recruit volunteers. I love the idea. I
I
love
appreciate
the
it.
idea.
Yeah. This is gonna be great
Yeah.
then. Thank you. Okay. We're gonna
Yes.
get it together. We'll make a group chat, get the people
Yes.
involved, maybe figure out a spreadsheet or something, and we're gonna make this happen. And I'll keep writing bills so that way, and then we can also figure out a way to communicate about what's working and what isn't.
We
Oh,
can
people are
do it.
excited.
We
Ah,
can
people.
do
Oh,
it. We
this
can
makes me
do
happy.
it.
For the person who asked what exactly, so I've been writing some model legislation. I put one or two out, bills to fight corruption. Because if we can just fight corruption, that helps with the whole money out of politics thing. We need to put these people in jail. That's just what it is. And then we get
And
money.
this is the type of stuff that if people hear, they will vote for that, like you said.
Oh yeah,
If
there's
they
so much
know,
bipartisan support.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's why we have to keep one of the things I want to tell people, our biggest weapons are our words and our ideas. That's what they're afraid of the
Oh,
most. They're
I
afraid of
agree
our
with that.
words and our ideas. We don't even need like that's the most powerful thing we have. It's
Yeah.
so funny because I agree, nonviolent. I mean, violence. I mean, it's not really realistic. We could storm the Capitol because they have the military, for one.
And the
But in
military loves
any
them.
case,
Yeah.
people will
Yeah.
say, we need an armed revolution, and I'll say, well, that is not my area of expertise. I don't know how to do that. What I know how to do is bring people together in peaceful ways, be an activist, fight, be loud. Oh gosh, I'm very good at organizing big things, big events. One of the things I think could be incredible that I would like to do is set up networks of mutual aid
Yeah.
because we are like very soon, people are going to be suffering greatly. I mean, they already are. I don't want to say that they're not, but it's going to get worse and worse. So, yes, I would like to help organize how to help people get what they need to
Yeah.
live.
Well, and I was just talking to some people about that today. Black Panthers style. The Black Panthers delivered the mutual aid and then said, "Here's a pamphlet." And by the way, if you want like a good, I mean, there's the introduction to soft secession
Yep.
booklet. It's available in a print copy on the existentialistrepublic.com. So you can order that. Some people send it to their state representatives or schedule a meeting and put it in front of them. But you can also get a free copy at buymeacoffee.com/the ER. Also, we have a soft secession trifold pamphlet. And so people send those out. You can go to
Oh, I
town
didn't see
hall.
that yet. I didn't get
Yeah,
to
it's
see
on
that
there.
yet. Okay.
Yeah, and you can just print that out and you can do mutual aid and be like, hey, I'm gonna, give you this food, but I also want you to take this pamphlet and we can talk about it if you want. Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And if you show up in public and you are giving something away, you will get a lot of people.
Oh yeah. If you
Even
want to
if it's
organize,
just
you gotta order
water,
pizza.
if it's little snacks, like, making something, like together, hosting events. This is the way we have to bring people together. That's it. When
Well,
people
and
come together, we are absolutely brilliant. We have everything we need within the human beings in this country to overthrow this fascist regime. We have everything we need. They want to suppress us and oppress us powerfully. And if you notice, before the regime came into office, people didn't question whether or not this regime represented the majority or the minority. Everybody knew this was fringe ideology and that it did not represent the most of America. But now, because they take up so much space, because they're so big with their bodies and their lips and their makeup and their hair and the orange and all this, the performance that they give us, it takes up more space. And so people believe this is what most people believe and think, and that is not true. The majority of people are not sociopaths. The majority of people are humane. That's what we have to remember. But we
yeah.
can't remember that unless we go out there and be with people.
Well, and the media hides it. The media, I get these questions a lot, especially about like arresting ICE agents. And that's what I mentioned earlier. I'm going to be speaking to Tom Hartman's show on Monday.
Amazing. You know I love Tom. You know that he is
He's
one
amazing.
of the
Yeah.
most trusting voices for me. And it was so great to see you guys that time already. And I'm thrilled he's having you on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. Um, he's been a kind of a great North Star for me in my work. And but that
Yes.
conversation, I keep getting questions because the media just loves bringing on these attorneys who are like, you can't arrest ICE agents when they murder people in broad daylight. That's against qualified immunity and the supremacy clause and this and that precedent. I was like, when you commit a crime, you can be put in handcuffs and you can be put in a cell and you can be brought to court. And if a corrupt federal government, and this is where it gets dicey, go ahead. It is going to get dicey. But you know what? If Donald
Get
Trump was
dicey.
running a state, if Donald Trump was running a state, he would just say, no, we're going to prosecute it anyway. And that's the attitude we need to have because fascists consolidate.
Mm,
They move quickly because they understand what the stakes are. And I guarantee you, any of these Democrat governors or Democrat AGs, if it was their loved ones being beaten by ICE, being kidnapped by ICE, tomorrow, those agents would be in a cell and they'd be on trial. And if when the federal government said, no, 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 we're going to do the investigation and we're going to make sure they're found not liable. No, go ahead and run your own sham investigation, but we're here for justice. And
yep. That
it wouldn't even
reminds me
be
of
about.
actually how I heard the mayor of Minneapolis talking yesterday or the day before. Those were some of the messages, and just shutting down the outrageousness of certain ideas or thoughts. The fact that this ideology has been allowed to be normalized in the mainstream, to hear a mayor, whenever I hear anybody that's really talking straight,
Yeah.
really, like we were saying before, the ones that aren't scripted, that aren't bought off, the people that are really speaking from the heart, you know, it makes me realize we have brilliant Americans are brilliant. We are presumed to be idiots because of certain stereotypes, right? Like, Americans are not always viewed by other countries as in a positive light.
Yeah.
But the people of America are beautiful, loving, incredibly talented, experienced, knowledgeable people. And then people who are marginalized and abandoned by society, that's not their fault.
Yeah.
People that are living in these deep red states, they didn't choose what's going on. That's not Power was taken away from them, just like it was with the election in 2024. The government was stolen from us. So that's the people in red states, that's what they're dealing with. They're dealing with severe oppression. I I I want to reach out and connect with those people that are invisible, that are absolutely invisible,
Yeah.
and still precious, precious humans that we have to take care of.
Well, and I maybe I end up pushing for a Kickstarter. Like I said earlier, people tell me if you want to do it. But like as much as I get mad at Texas, Florida, whatever, um, I don't know, if people are interested in us maybe trying to do a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe to do a documentary on me and maybe a small team of ER type, the existentialist republic type folks going to a rural town and, that's a deep red. I mean, because I've seen the success already. Like, gosh, if you just let me go to the bar, let me go to the VA, let me go, and a couple other people, um, you'd be surprised how many of those folks would be on board for universal health care because you just want to put it in
Absolutely.
the right terms. Like, hey, you know how you have farm insurance provided by the federal government? Why don't we talk about that? Like you can prepare this stuff in advance. You can sit down with people. You do a lot of listening. It can happen, and I will. I mean, that's part of why I think the DNC is owned by the oligarchs, but I don't think every Democrat is owned by oligarchs, and I don't think they're beyond influence just because of their nature in the way that the Republicans are. The
I
Democrats are
only
just
feel it's the congressional ones, to be honest. I don't
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't really see it outside. I feel like the state reps,
totally,
the mayors, well, even the governors,
yeah,
some of them, they're not necessarily controlled by oligarchs.
and also if we don't show up as we have not been, then it's the people we don't like who are deciding who our representatives are, and even like the Democrat, like it's whoever shows up, and corporations and oligarchs have been showing up in every level with who they fund for a long time. It will take us years to take things back, and it's not going to come from a presidential race. You could elect the greatest president on earth, and I promise you, they're not going to be able to right the ship. We right the ship
Well,
when the
Biden didn't.
state very true, and I contentious figure, but I will say he's the first president we've had to walk a picket line. Um, and that's something I really appreciate about
We'll
him.
throw him a bone.
Yeah, you
We'll
know,
throw
uh,
him a bone.
but
But this is just an example, a great president, they can't right the ship, right? That's the whole
yeah,
point.
it truly, I really don't think even Bernie, whoever your person is, AOC, none of them could fix this because it gets fixed from the bottom up. Find out who your state rep is. Get a You help them win that race. You don't sell the candidate, you sell the policy. We don't need AOC. I love AOC. AOCs and Mamdanis are great, but they are phenoms. They are outliers. They are not
Outliers,
the
exactly.
norm.
That's
Fine.
right.
I don't care if you're boring. I don't care if you're annoying. I don't care if you're kind of an asshole. If you're going to go and you're going to say, arrest corrupt politicians,
I don't know if you can hear me. Your picture came up. You're still alive, but I only see your photo and I cannot hear you. I'm still going to stay on here while Chris tries to come back. I am just thrilled I even get to talk to him. Oh, now it's just me, but I'm still on Christopher's. Well, you guys, it seems like Christopher is not here and he may not be coming back. And somehow I am still so lucky to be on his audience. I don't even know exactly what to do with all of it, but I want to thank you guys for being here. And I want to thank you for every single thing you're doing for this nation. All of you people out there. The only way we can get through authoritarianism is together. That's it. We have to unite. We have to unite in numbers so big that we overwhelm them. And I'll never stop fighting, no matter what. And Christopher said the same thing earlier. He said, even if I knew for a fact we could never win, I would never stop fighting. So I'm aligned with Christopher on that. Well, I don't know what to do, Christopher, but I guess I'll say goodbye. I don't know if you're coming back. And I want to thank you so much. If you see the end of this video, thank you for calling me and inviting me. And I would love to do this again. And I'll text you when I get off of here, maybe. And if you want to follow up, then we can. All right, everybody. Mwah! Thank you. Thank you for being part of this community. Goodbye.